If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many times I've spoken with individuals who would say that the person that they were engaging with was a narcissist of the first degree, but they didn't realize it right up front because it just didn't seem as though that person was as pathological as they later learned that they indeed were. Now, typically, when something like this happens, we're talking about dealing with a covert narcissist. These individuals operate in a real stealth kind of way. They have all the earmarks of narcissism, but you just don't see it up front. Let's keep in mind the narcissist must be in control. They have low levels of empathy. They're manipulative, exploitive. They want to be in the superior position. But covert narcissists do so in a stealth kind of way. What you see up front isn't what eventually shows up down the road. One of the things I want you to recognize is covert narcissists are experts at knowing how to work a crowd, and that includes you. Ultimately, you begin realizing I'm just one player on their stage and there are many moving parts. These individuals can come across initially as very charming and friendly and interested in you, but over time you realize none of it was authentic. I want to see if I can help you understand how narcissists like to work a crowd, starting with you and then realizing how you fit into their greater scheme. First, let's recognize that narcissists, and especially these covert narcissists, are constantly on the prowl. They're sizing people up. They're trying to figure out, are you somebody that I can use? Are you somebody that can give me whatever it is I want? And they're in a constant grooming kind of a mindset. Basically, they will pick up on what your needs or preferences or interests or desires are. They're measuring you. And basically they're thinking within themselves, what's going to be my inroad so that I can ultimately gain control over you? Now, they may ask questions like, what are you most interested in, or how might I help you, or what are some of your more intriguing kind of projects that you're working on? And they show that they have a great deal in common with you on those kind of things. And you're over there thinking, hey, this is nice, not realizing you're being played. But that's what they do. In addition, a part of their covert manner of narcissism is they use lots of pseudo-empathy. They'll give you a lot of Me Too statements. For example, if you say, I went through a divorce and it was really rough, they may say, yeah, I had a breakup and boy, it was really rough with me too. I understand how that is. Or you may say something like, I had this person at work that was ridiculously difficult, and they'll come back with, oh yeah, I had the same kind of situation in my life. And they can mirror you, and keep in mind, mirroring is not the same thing as empathy, but they can make it sound as though they really care, when in fact it's just merely data gathering. All they're doing is they're letting you know, or think or presume, yeah, I'm like you, and I'm in there with you, and I can relate to you. I'm sure you can relate with me. And so you can see that ultimately the fact that they would be willing to do this and pretend as if they're interested in you tells us later how deep their pathology was. It's like, who would use seemingly loving and kind and friendly techniques to gain an edge over you and to ultimately drive you into the ground? But their lack of conscience doesn't really prompt them to think that way. Now, in addition, part of their covert narcissism is they may even go a little bit deeper into some of their own personal sharing. But you'll notice that when they do, it's personal sharing, but not of the ultimate vulnerable level. For example, let's suppose they're talking about that person that rejected them, or that project that didn't go well. And they may say, yeah, let me tell you the details. And they'll go into it, and you realize as they do, they're very much the victim. It was always someone else's fault. But it's their way of implying, yeah, I'm on the same page as you. Now, I mentioned they work a crowd. Keep in mind that they're doing this with you, but then when they're not with you, they're doing it with other people too. Their whole thing is, my loyalties are fluid. I'm constantly trying to figure out who in my world is going to be the one that will sidle up next to me? Who can I get to be in my inner circle so that I can use them? And so you are one of many. Now, for a while, they may make you feel like you're exclusive, but you can be one of many people that they're grooming all at the same time. Now, once you begin realizing that they're working you just like they work other individuals, you recognize one of their favorite games is eventually triangulation. Now, when we talk about triangulation, we then talk about how they will begin in their minds taking notes about who you are and how you respond, and then they compare it with this person over here, who they are and how they respond, and they're constantly wondering, okay, which one of you people out there is going to suit me best? Which one of you is going to be the kind of person that I'm going to have ultimate dominance over? And so if you begin showing some signs that says, well, but I think differently over here, or I don't really agree with you, in that covert narcissist mind, it's like, okay, this isn't working. You're not adoring me, or you're not falling in line with me in the way that I think you should. And slowly but surely, some of their anger and contempt will begin to rise to the surface. All the while, they're constantly thinking of the people in front of me. Who's the most impressionable? Who's the one that I can dupe? You're next. And then once you realize that you're onto them, and it's like they're just playing you, and all they want is favors from you, all they want is to have dominance over you, then that's when you're going to start seeing the fuller extent of their narcissism. In their mind, they're being nice, they're being friendly, they're being pleasant for the purpose of all sorts of cravings on the inside of them. They want you to admire them. They want you to enable them. They want you to make them look good. They want you to let them be in charge. They want you not to call them out on their inconsistencies. And at first, as they show themselves to be pleasant and friendly, and you're going along with them, they'll just give you all sorts of positive reinforcement. But then once you start having your own independence or your own separate preferences, or you call them out on some of the things that you don't care about with them, then here comes the dominance, here comes the control, the put downs, the gaslighting, what's wrong with you? And then beyond that, it's the smear campaign. That's how they work. And unlike their loud and overt narcissistic counterparts, the stealth part is they let you think that, I'm the nicest person you ever met, or I'm on your team, when in fact, no, there's only one person in that equation that matters, and it's not you. Over time, when you have exposure to these covert narcissists, various realizations begin to become more and more clear. And that is, there's nothing genuine about this person. They'll tell one lie after another, and the sad thing is they actually believe their own lies. They have lots of hidden agenda items. This person operates with an underdeveloped conscience. At first, it doesn't seem that way, but then you realize they don't feel much guilt when they have done someone wrong. Somehow or another, it's everybody else's fault, and they don't really care. Or in addition, you begin realizing that these people actually believe their own BS that they shovel out to everybody else. It's like, no, I'm smart, I'm right, I'm good, I'm valid, I'm legit, when in fact, no, manipulating and exploiting and dominating people, none of that's legit. And their thinking is, yes, it is, at least when it's me. Or in addition, you begin realizing, I'm just a tool to be used to that person. Now, it didn't feel that way at first because you thought that they were really into you, but no, I was just being used for their own short-term jollies. And then it hits you, this individual has no sense of loyalty whatsoever. They're not invested in me. Now, they want me to be invested in them. Oh, and when all of that just comes into focus, you have that sense that says, man, I can't believe that I was played like that. So once you begin realizing this, let's acknowledge, don't beat yourself up. You're dealing with a master manipulator, and many other people could actually tell you some very similar stories about that individual. You're not the only one. You won't be, and there'll be others that will follow you. Another thought that once you begin figuring this out, forget trying to bring that narcissist into your circle of truth, if you will. And what I mean by that is you want to say, hey, look, what you did was wrong, or what you said was inaccurate, or you told this person this when in fact it wasn't that. Never are they going to come back and say, good point. They're going to rationalize. They're going to tell you how stupid you are. That's the gaslighting that they use. They deceive you because they're self-deceived within themselves. They don't have any sense of authenticity because they're living behind their own false self. Now, it might be, as far as you finding some healing, that you might even want to compare notes with other people who have been duped by that same person. You want to be very careful as you do, because you don't want to then, just get into the gossip thing. But I remember one lady who became friends with a woman who was actually the ex of the same person she was the ex of. And they began comparing notes. It's like, well, we both got the same end of that stick, but they wound up being friends and socialize with each other. Go figure. You're going to need to get your energies or invest your energies elsewhere. Covert narcissists, they're stealth, they're behind the scenes manipulators, but make no mistake, their pleasant veneer up front is part of the manipulation. And it's shameless in the way that they engage. But over time, I do have this belief that truth has a way of rising to the surface, and you'll eventually see it for what it's worth. And it's going to remind you, I'm going to have to go slow and steady in getting to know people. You like to have a sense of optimism about human nature, and there are people out there that are genuine, but then there are also people out there who are just users, who are trying to figure out how they can gain an advantage over you so they can elevate themselves falsely. And we'll go with the notion that says, buyer beware. Sad to think to have to think that way, but they're out there. I hope that videos such as this give you some good insight into the whole world of narcissism and how you can survive what they throw at you. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit our subscribe button, the notification bell that goes along with it. If you have a need for counseling, and many times when you have this kind of scenario, that can be a very positive thing for you. I would encourage you to either seek out counseling where you are, or we have available right here with a link below our video, a sponsor who can take you to a whole team of licensed professional counselors that could help you sift this out. And I would encourage you to take advantage of that if you would find that to be useful. In addition, we have courses, not just one-off webinars, although we have those and I thoroughly enjoy doing them, but the courses have multiple videos and teachings that go along with them, and then personal reflection courses that are meant to be very therapeutic, of course, in nature. In addition, we have my books and other media sites that you can see underneath the video here to keep up with what we have going on. Okay, master manipulators, these folks know how to work a crowd, but once you're onto it and you realize that there are multiples of those people out there, it will prompt you to say, I need to be cautious, I need to practice self-care. And in doing so, I'm hoping that you can stay out of their snares. And it's like, you want to be in control? I'm not going to be the control-E. It doesn't work for me.